This season of the Creative Piano Teaching Podcast is proudly supported by Tanara Music Practice Platform. Hi everyone, it's Tim here, and I wanted to let you know that tickets are now on sale for my very own Piano Teachers Conference being held here in Melbourne in January 2020. It's called Piano Pivot Live, and you can get your ticket and find out all the details now at pianopivotlive.com. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, reading my blog, and getting inspired by fresh lesson and business ideas, then this is the conference for you. This two-day experience will bring together your favourite speakers, unpacking topics from creative pedagogy to marketing, preschoolers to technology, and everything in between. You'll get all your morning and afternoon teas, snacks, and a full lunch included in your ticket price. And while I know you'll get inspired by our keynotes and get practical in our workshops, what I'm most excited by is the chance you'll have to work with our speakers and experts in small group mastermind and implementation sessions to help you ensure you get a return on your investment in 2020. So if you've ever thought about visiting Melbourne or Australia, then this is your chance. It will be the perfect start to a new year of teaching, hanging out with other teachers from around the world, getting inspired, planning your studio, and making real change for the year ahead. Buy your ticket now at pianopivotlive.com before they all sell out. Okay, let's get on with the show.
Welcome to the Creative Piano Teaching Podcast, the place where teachers from around the world meet to share innovative ideas about music education. Listen and learn as we help you motivate your students, grow your income, expand your studio, and become a more creative piano teacher.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Creative Piano Teaching Podcast. You're listening to episode number 175. We're halfway through season 3, 2019, and how's my voice? For those of you who have been listening this season, you'll know that I went in for vocal cord surgery exactly 2 weeks ago today as I'm recording this. And how's my voice sound? For me, it's been an interesting process. I've had to take it incredibly easy over the last 2 weeks, including 2 days of absolutely no talking at all, which was quite a challenge for anyone that's tried that before. And now it's starting to rebuild. There's no doubt about that. The speech pathologist and surgeon are both happy with progress, and I go back for another visual check where they put a camera down my throat in about 4 weeks just to have a look at the actual vocal cords. But at the moment, I have to say, they feel quite good. I don't have quite the same power, and I do run out of the ability to talk for long periods of time, but I'm feeling that the graveliness that was really prominent around episode 150 to 160 certainly isn't there anymore. And we'll see how it goes over the next couple of weeks. But look, thank you all very much for your well wishes. If you are interested in the surgery, pictures of it, and all that kind of stuff, please check out my Instagram page and also my Facebook page where I shared some pictures of before and after. And indeed, if this is something that you've had trouble with or you've got questions about, I'm more than happy to answer as much as I can. I feel it's really important to share my experience because I really hadn't realized, and I don't think any of us do, just how important our voices are to our work as teachers. You don't realize it until there's a problem with it. I guess it's the same with anything in life. You don't really realize just how useful this finger is or that elbow is or whatever until it hurts and you can't use it for a while. So look after your voices, everyone. As I said in the episode a few weeks ago, I don't actually know what caused my vocal cord polyp. Sometimes they do just emerge, but more often than not, it's caused by damage through overuse or shouting. Can be from reflux, can be from a variety of reasons. But I'll just say look after your voices, everyone. They are so important to us. Okay, now, before we jump into my 10 reasons to book your Piano Pivot Live ticket and talking a little bit more about the event and why I've done it and what to expect, I wanted to just give you some of the latest news. And one of the other things that I shared on social, in addition to imagery of my vocal cords, was the fact that I've recently taken over the Piano Bench mag from Karen Gibson. Those of you who aren't aware, the Piano Bench mag is a monthly magazine for piano teachers, by piano teachers, and it brings together some great ideas, interviews, topics, strategies. Karen even did recipes into a monthly format magazine that you can get online on iOS and Android devices. It's been fantastic. I've watched its progress over the years, but Karen decided to finish up publishing the magazine in April this year. And when I heard about that, I thought, it'd be so good to be able to keep this going. So it's now part of the Top Music enterprise, and I can't wait to relaunch it at the start of next year with a full new design, new approach, and using lots of the great content that we have on both the podcast and the blog, and combining that with interviews and editorial and articles. I can't wait to share that with you. So look out for that as we near the start of the next year. So ticket sales are going strong for Piano Pivot Live, which we're going to talk about today. And I just wanted to remind you of two features that you may not be aware of. One is that your ticket price includes all your catering during the day, morning and afternoon teas, and a full catered lunch. That's unusual for conferences in other parts of the world, but we are definitely doing that for Australia. So remember that your ticket price includes all the meals you'll need on the day, and apart from dinner, of course, and the accommodation. I've got to talk about that too. All delegates get discount accommodation at Ridges. Now, those weeks in January when we're holding the conference, 23rd, 24th of January is the conference, is also Australian Open time, which is fantastic for all you tennis fans out there. One of the biggest events, sporting events of the year. However, that does mean that hotel accommodation is expensive. So don't freak out when you go and look for accommodation. We have discount accommodation at Ridges, including breakfast, and you'll get the links to that once you grab your ticket. And I'm also soon to release details of a major digital instrument giveaway at Piano Pivot Live that is going to be open to all delegates. Now, this is thanks to our principal sponsor, Kawai, and this prize is worth more than $4,000. Yes, you heard that right. I will let you know more about that when the details come out, and we'll be sharing that on email and also on social. This is a huge prize that one of our delegates will be taking away from the conference just for being there. So stay tuned for more of that. And for those of you who were at the Australian Piano Pedagogy Conference in Brisbane this year, you'll remember my great friends Paul Myatt and Gillian Erskine from Forte and Black Rock Music were interviewing speakers and broadcasting that on social channels and Facebook Live. And we have decided that it was so good to have them along for APPC that they're going to be here at Piano Pivot Live as well, doing the same thing. So look out when you come in to our exhibit area. They're going to be interviewing our speakers and guests live, so that you can follow that online as well. It's going to be great. So let's get on with today's show. The full show notes, links, and a transcript will be available as usual at timtopham.com/episode 175. And if you haven't recently checked out our podcast show notes, then you are in for a massive surprise. We are now timestamping the interviews with all the main questions and main points so that you can jump link as you're listening to the audio if you go to the show notes. So try it out for this one. Head to timtopham.com/episode 175 and then scroll down, have a look at the discussion points, and you can just click and go straight to any of those. We're doing that from all our episodes at the moment, starting at 170. So if you've enjoyed or you've seen a topic that you thought was interesting, rather than listening to the whole interview, if you want to just jump into the show notes, you can then see the questions I'm asking, all the main points that are being discussed, and you can jump straight to that audio. It's a really great feature, and I hope you check it out. Well, as you know, we are right in the thick of preparing for my huge conference here in Melbourne in January 2020. So it's called Piano Pivot Live, and it's on the 23rd and 24th of January next year. And if you want to grab a ticket and you haven't yet, or you want to find out more about it, who's speaking, what the schedule looks like, all that good stuff, just head to pianopivotlive.com. And today I wanted to take you through the top 10 reasons I think you should book your place at the Piano Pivot Live event before our tickets sell out. And as of recording this episode, we've got just about 30 tickets remaining. And once they're gone, that's absolutely it. So if you want to come and see a lineup of speakers like you've never seen before, then make sure you come along to this event. So why did I decide to put on this event? Well, there are a number of reasons, but what I really wanted was an event that was less theoretical and more practical. Also, I wanted an event that focused on creativity and business for studio owners. And what better a place than to do it in my hometown in Melbourne summertime. So let's just go over those things just quickly. Less theory, more practice. While I've been to many conferences, and there are fantastic aspects to lots of them. There are times when you're watching a presentation and the speaker just isn't engaging. They're dragging on, they're reading notes from behind a lectern, and they're filling the screen with illegible PowerPoint text. Or just talking about theory when all you want is to be able to write down, your top 3 things that you can instantly take away and go and use in your lessons. As of recording this podcast, actually, I just did our webinar on technique this morning, and it was just so great to see the comments coming through of people going, aha, that is my best takeaway from this webinar. Oh, I've learned something today. Oh, I've got 2 great points that I can go and use. These are the reasons that I put together content. It's so that you can grab ideas and go and use them straight away in your studio. While there's, of course, a place for theory, and I've enjoyed researching many top theoretical topics when it comes to music education, what I think people want at events is real practical value. So how to do things, how things have worked for other people, and where to go forward and where to look for more information if you do want that theory. So if that's something you've experienced at other events before, then rest assured I'm really committed to that not being the case at Piano Pivot Live. So let's actually talk about this name now, because people have been saying, what the hell is a Piano Pivot? Well, this is named after our online 5-day Piano Pivots, 5DPP, what they were kind of called. And we've taken hundreds of teachers through a process over those 5 days of the Piano Pivot Live. I did these with Nicola Canton, who's one of our guest speakers coming all the way from Ireland. We ran these together over a period of 5 days, and they were all about making real change in 2 aspects of your enterprise: the teaching and that often neglected side of business. So it's about taking stock of where you're at, what you're trying to achieve, and where you want to go in the future, and then finding and laying out a path, a strategy for implementing that. Because one of the other things that I get frustrated with at conferences often is that while you get really excited and G'd up and amped up and just so passionate when you're there about some great new idea, the hardest thing is actually implementing that change in your studio. It's so easy to go back to your old habits, isn't it? I've done it. I'm sure you've done it if you've been to an event before. You had the best intentions. You loved what was being presented, but it all became too hard. Family life returns, you get busy, and you just go back to doing things the way that you've always done them. So I don't want to have that happen to you. And so when we go through these 10 reasons for booking a Piano Pivot Live ticket in just a minute, that's going to be an important one, which you'll hear coming up again. So let's get on to them now. Here are my top 10 reasons that you should book your Piano Pivot Live ticket right now. And if you have already got your ticket, woohoo, can't wait to meet you. It's going to be so great to see everyone there. And I hope that these 10 reasons will confirm why you have made the best decision for your professional development in the next 6 months or so. So, number 1, it's run by me. Now, I don't want to sound like that's really boasting, but what I mean by that is that it will be high quality, it'll be engaging, it'll be creative, and it'll be practical. And look, as this is my first time event, I would love your support. I would love to be able to expand this concept for a conference far and wide, to tour it to different places, to get more teachers the ability to go and experience a piano pivot. So if you're under any sort of hesitation and you're keen to support this as a concept, then I would love to see you at this first event, because it's going to make all the difference. So if you've listened to this podcast for a while, you'll know that I'm all about practical, actionable content, ideas, and resources. There's no fluff. I try not to waste time with the theory unless it's immediately relevant to the content. The other thing is that you know that an event run by me is not about dictating, you must do this. Your old methods are wrong. You must teach like this. I never do that. And I think I wouldn't like to be talked at in that way either. I love inviting you guys into new ideas, to hear stories, to understand case studies, and support you when you go, you know what? I think that is a wicked idea. I'm going to try that out. And we're there to hold your hand and give you resources. That's what it's all about for me. And that's the same approach we'll be using at Piano Pivot Live. I'm delighted that Tonara is supporting this season of the podcast and wanted to take a minute to tell you about what they offer. Tonara, spelled Tonara, creates an inspiring community for music teachers and students throughout the week, with students feeling connected to their teacher and peers. And because of the fun and engaging practice tools built into the platform, teachers can see a dramatic increase in the amount and quality of their students' practice. Teachers no longer have to worry that assignments will get lost or go unread. Multimedia-rich assignments can be reused and updated quickly, making any assignment a festival of creativity and inspiration. Help your students discover the difference effective practice can make. Tonara is available on mobile, tablet, and desktop, so head to tonara.com, that's Tonara.com, and sign up for a 30-day free trial or download the app from your respective mobile store on your device. Let Tonara create happiness in your studio today. Okay, reason number 2. All delegates are going to be able to enter a draw to win a brand new, never before released digital instrument from Kawai worth over $4,000. Yes, I mentioned this up front. This is reason number 2. This is a huge one. Now, because this is delegates only you guys, the delegates who have got a ticket, are going to know how to enter this competition. And look, if you're trying to work out a return on investment in coming to this conference, and what I mean by that is a way to pay back the money that you're investing in coming to this event, then imagine if you won a new $4,000 instrument for your studio after paying just a few $100s for this event. Not only do you walk away with all the amazing things you learn at the event, but you'll also be able to add another instrument to your studio or replace that one that you've been happy to give away. So there's reason number 2. This giveaway is unbelievable. I can't wait to share all the details with you. Okay, number 3. One of my key goals of the conference, as I mentioned earlier, is actionable results. So my goal is to help you get a return on investment. If you haven't listened yet, I want you to go back to episode number 172 from this season of the podcast and listen to my discussion with one of my members. Her name's Amy. And the episode is all about how she recouped 3 times the cost of her professional Inner Circle membership. That's over $1,000 within just a few months of joining us. Now, she did that by setting out a few strategies, things that she wanted to achieve in her studio and offering that up as some paid extra activities. So go and have a listen to that episode because this concept is crucial, and Amy actually commits to making sure she gets a return on investment for everything that she spends money on in her business. And I think that's an incredibly clever approach because it basically means that nothing ever costs you any money because you're always getting money and value back. And in the case of Amy, over 3 times the money invested back. No other conference is designed to help you plan and strategize changes in your studio and to consciously help you ensure you get a return on your investment. And getting that ROI, the return on investment, is really important as you consider spending money on events. In fact, if you've previously attended a conference and spent $300 on new music without much trouble, hands up. You don't have to say who you are. I'm putting my hand up. How easy is it when you go to those exhibit halls? Well, keep that in mind as you weigh up the cost of a ticket to Piano Pivot Live. It's not that different. And I'm going to do my absolute best to make sure that you leave this conference with some ways of making you, of getting that money back for you, hopefully multiple times over in value. And so before you come, also have a think about how you could recoup your investment through some business ideas in your studio. Could you, like Amy, set up some bonus workshops that you charge your students for? Could you run a summer camp or even a one-day event? Could you offer a special 3-week course on composing or songwriting or using notation software? What could you do? Have a bit of a think about it and then grab your ticket so you can come along and we can help you implement the steps you need to make that happen. Reason number 4, my hand-picked curated group of speakers. Now, if you have followed me on Instagram or Facebook or Pinterest, you will have already seen their smiling faces. You will have seen my little interviews with them. But if you haven't yet, head to pianopivotlive.com and scroll down to our speakers section or click the speakers link at the top, and you'll be able to watch a quick little bit from each of these speakers about what they're going to be talking about. So as a quick reminder, we've got the fantastic Samantha Coates. She really is one of the all-time best speakers I've ever seen in any industry. She's phenomenal, and she's talking about how the internet has changed our workplace. It's going to be phenomenal, I can tell you right now. We've also got Anita Collins, who's really well known for her TED Talk on music and the brain. She's a standout presenter as well, and a performer. And she'll be joining us to talk about fireworks in the musical brain and how that impacts how we teach. Carly McDonald from Adelaide, she's going to be talking about her experience building a preschool and beginner program to lead into her main group programs at Nova Music in Adelaide. It's a fantastic presentation, and it was great to unpack that with her. And Philip Johnston from The Practice Revolution, Scales Bootcamp, all those fantastic books you've probably read. He's talking about the $100 million teaching studio. Now, of course, as well as those fantastic speakers, we've got Nicola Canton, who you all know very well, Ruth Power from New Zealand. We've got Anastasia Buettner from Perth. Joyce Ong is joining us from Sydney. Lindell Kennedy from Perth. Paul Myatt from Sydney. And all the way from America, Justin Levitt, one of my favorite composers. I've talked about his music a lot in the past, and it's going to be great to have him coming over and welcome him and his family. So these presenters, as I say, they're all handpicked by me. No one has submitted anything to me and asked to be presenting. I've only chosen the people who I know are phenomenal, and that is what you're getting at Piano Pivot Live. Okay, reason number 5, the venue we've chosen is fantastic, and you get the full catering. I mentioned this at the start too. So Ridges, it's a top-class Melbourne hotel. The rooms that we're using, light, comfortable. You're going to have a really comfortable and enjoyable time there. We're going for a round table setup as well, and that's going to be important when we come to our masterminds, which I'll talk about in a moment. But I really like the approach of round tables at conferences rather than lecture halls. So much more engaging and so much more practical for actually writing. And as I said before too, full catering provided, which, as I've also learnt in my travels, is not really provided, particularly in America. So you'll get all your meals. You don't have to worry about leaving the hotel and coming back on time and finding lunch. It's all there, and it's all provided in the same space, and this is a very cool space, where our exhibitors and our sponsors have their exhibit areas. So you can browse your music, you can have your lunch, you can chat to people, and really make great, valuable use of that time. I should just go back to number 4 where I mentioned speakers. My other request with all our speakers is that they present a new workshop, a new topic. So none of the topics and presentations that our speakers are delivering have ever been done before. They are all brand new, and I can't thank them enough for accepting my invitation to speak with that as a challenge for them. But that alone, I think, means that you can't help but get value from this. You will not have seen any of the presentations before, and you're going to know that these speakers are fabulous. Okay, now reason number 6, single stream. So how frustrating is it sometimes when you go to big conferences, if you've been to some, and you have to pick between 5 or 6 concurrent sessions where there's at least 2 or 3 people you want to watch at the same time, and they're not recorded. You can't find out anywhere what you missed. You've got 2 options. You either choose one and stay there, or you try and capture 15 minutes of each of the 3 as you move around. Of course, that's incredibly distracting for everyone, including the speaker. So we are single streamed at this event. There's only one thing happening at a time, and you get to see everything. So no missing out on any speakers or topics that you really wanted to see, because we're a single stream event. All right, reason number 7, our sponsor giveaways, our offers, and our trade and exhibit area. We have backpacks that are literally going to be overflowing with freebies. Our sponsors have been so generous when I've asked for them to provide support to the event, of course, and also to provide you great resources that you can use in your studios. So you are going to get so many freebies from the likes of Kawai, Music for Young Children, Devira, Fine Music, Ultimate Music Theory, My Music Stuff, Trinity College, ANSCA exams, you name it. There are giveaways galore, so look out for that. We've, of course, got that massive Kawai giveaway too, and as I mentioned before as well, I can't wait to show you this trade space. You're going to be quite blown away. It's unlike anything you've ever seen at an event before. I'm just going to leave you with that, but rest assured, it's going to blow your mind. Okay, reason number 8, masterminds and implementation sessions. This is where Piano Pivot Live is, again, totally different to any other conference. What we're doing is setting aside time in the schedule for you to connect directly at these roundtables that we've got with our speakers and expert teachers. We call these mastermind sessions, and you'll be able to choose exactly who you'd like to mastermind with. You'll get to ask any question you'd like that helps you move your own studio and planning forward. So if you're there on, let's say, the first day when we've got Samantha, Carly and Nicola, amongst others speaking, you can go and sit with them for half an hour at a table and follow up, go deeper onto the topics they were talking about, unpack more. Or indeed, if you've just been fascinated about how one of them publishes their books, you can go into that as a topic and get some tips there. It really is an opportunity for you to move the needle in your studio and your teaching the best way that you can by grabbing the skills of someone who knows what they're talking about, who's been there before. And again, I really can't thank my speakers enough for saying, as well as creating a brand new presentation, for committing to being at the event for the whole day. Because that's also really unusual. So when you see the speakers lined up on each day, you'll know that they're going to be there for the day and able to hang out with you. You can ask questions of them. And as I say, in these mastermind sessions, you can actually sit at a table and have some really close small group time with those people. It's fantastic. And look, best of all, on the second day, we're actually going to set aside some structured time where I'll help you plan a goal and strategy for implementing, the things that you want to do to change your teaching in studio next year in 2020. So these are called our implementation sessions. We're going to structure and scaffold these so you have a process, and we're going to be around to help you make those changes and set those plans. And the delegate booklets, which are going to be these incredibly great resources for you for the whole year ahead, are going to have pages dedicated to you being able to make these changes, set these plans, and actually follow them through during 2020. The goal of all this, of course, is so that you don't leave the conference and go back to your old habits, hopefully. We want to really shortcut those, and that's what the Piano Pivot is all about. Of course, a pivot is a change of direction, a distinct motion to move somewhere else or to change tack somehow. Now, that could be as big as deciding that you want to teach preschoolers, or as big as converting to a group teaching studio, or hiring some teachers to help you. Or it could be as small as being a teacher who has quite rigidly stuck to a classical approach, realizing perhaps now that's not connecting with all your students, and deciding that you're going to start doing a bit more pop teaching. And that could be your pivot. So everyone's pivot is going to be different. Everyone's implementation is going to be different, but we're all there to help you with that process. Okay, I think I'm up to number 9. My reason number 9 for booking your Piano Pivot Live ticket today is that you are coming to Melbourne in summer. Everyone always tells me how much they want to visit Australia. Whenever I'm in the USA or in any other country, everyone says, "Oh, I would love to go to Australia." So there's now no excuse, especially if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, where I know it will be cold and all you'll want is some sunshine. Well, come down to Melbourne and enjoy it. I already know of one delegate flying all the way from Finland to get out of winter. Well, and hopefully to join us as well. Yes, this is even further than Nicola Canton coming from Ireland. It's an amazing story, and I can't wait to meet him. His name's Matt, when the conference starts in January. And I should say too that we have a private delegates Facebook group for all delegates and speakers who are coming to the conference. That's how I found out about one of our delegates traveling from Finland. It's all in our Facebook group. You will get access to that as soon as you get your ticket. I've never had a Facebook group before, so this is a new experience for me, and it's where we're sharing all our information in the lead up to the conference and where people are able to meet each other. So that's another great reason to join, just a little aside there. So what else is great about Melbourne at this time of the year? Well, of course, summer, we have incredible beaches. If you are into wine, food, or coffee, then Melbourne is like a heaven for you. You will have no end of incredible dining experiences, the best coffee, without a doubt, and incredible wine. And we've got wine regions only an hour out of Melbourne in almost 3 or 4 directions. So if you want to go for a little winery tour as part of that, then make sure you book one of those in. We have an incredibly vibrant music and cultural scene around our museums and art centres, live music, theatre productions, of course, galore. We also have the incredible Australian wildlife. If you have not yet ridden a kangaroo, I'm kidding, patted a koala, or fed one of our amazing native animals, you can do that again, only an hour out of Melbourne at a number of different wildlife sanctuaries. So get that picture with some of our native wildlife. Wombats. If you haven't seen a wombat or held one, oh my goodness, they are so cute, particularly when they're babies. Anyway, that's an aside. And finally, for those of you that are tennis fans, the Australian Open, of course, is on. Okay, and last but not least, reason number 10 to book your Piano Pivot Live ticket today. Tickets are running out. We do have limited space in our venue, and when the tickets are gone, that's it. As I said right at the start, we're down to our 30 last tickets. So if you've been hesitating about coming, have a think about those 10 points, all the great things that you're going to achieve next year as a result of both the inspiration you're going to get and the implementation help you'll be receiving. Then now's the time to take action. Head to pianopivotlive.com, grab your ticket today. Okay, well, I think it's been about 30 minutes and my voice, I can feel it is tiring, so I'm going to wrap things up now. Just to quickly mention next week on the podcast, it's my fireside chat with Marvin Blickenstaff. Now, if you haven't met Marvin before, he is the nicest guy. It was such a pleasure to unpack his story. He is such a well-respected, well-renowned, beautiful, lovely person. And I've met him a number of times at the NCKP conferences. He works with the Francis Clark Centre. And it was just lovely to go deeper into his story and find out more about his approach, where he's come from and where he's going, rather than what we do at the conferences, which is just like, hey, Marvin, and he says, hey, Tim, and we never have enough time. So it was just great to dig and dive deeply in to Marvin Blickenstaff's story. So that's next week on the podcast. Thank you heaps for joining me today, and I look forward to speaking to you then. I'm Tim Topham, and this is the Creative Piano Teaching Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Now, just before you go, if you enjoyed today's show, I'd love for you to check out my Inner Circle piano teaching community. It's the go-to resource for piano teachers looking to continue their professional development, connect with other teachers and experts from around the world, and to access hundreds of world-class training resources, including our academy courses, lesson plans, teaching videos, technology help, and much more. Whether you're just starting out or have been working hard to build your studio for a while, the Inner Circle community will give you the skills, support, and confidence you need to grow the studio of your dreams, whether that's about teaching a small number of students one-on-one in your home or hiring a commercial space, employing other teachers, and building an entire music teaching empire. With courses on both the teaching and business side of running your studio, live coaching, and our thriving community forums, you can get quick answers to questions, set yourself challenges, get feedback on your ideas, and feel confident teaching in new and exciting ways. For more information on how to join us inside the Inner Circle today, head over to timtopham.com/community, and we'll see you on the inside.
Will conclude this evening's entertainment.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Creative Piano Teaching Podcast. We'd love to help take your teaching to the next level as a member of our supportive community. Use the coupon Piano Podcast for $100 off an annual membership of Tim's Inner Circle today. To find out more, head to timtopham.com/community.